You know, I just can't stay away from Atari that long. So in the middle of my month of Nintendo, I'm going to review an Atari 2600 game. This is Princess Rescue, a demake of Super Mario Bros. For the Atari. And even though the game was called Princess Rescue and not Mario Bros., it got cease and desisted by Nintendo. But fortunately, you can download the binary file for it, the ROM file, free of charge. It's always actually been free, but if you want, a nice press cartridge, you'd have to pay. But of course, now you don't have the option of doing that. So the one way of playing it on your real hardware is to use a Harmony cartridge, which is exactly what I'm doing. For those not in the know, a Harmony cartridge is a flash cart for the Atari. You put a ROM file on an SD card, you stick that in the Harmony, and you stick that in your Atari, and there you go. And, there are a lot of legal ROM files you can get like Princess Rescue for it. These are homebrew games that are made for the love of the console by Atari enthusiasts. And the author was even nice enough to release the source code. And I always love it when people do that because that means others can learn from their techniques and maybe even improve on them. Okay, well, let's talk about the game a little bit. As you can hear, it has glorious Atari sound. And just so you know, that's not the programmer's fault. The Atari could not reproduce every note of the musical scale, so all Atari music is off-key to some degree. It was never designed for it. Games back when the Atari was made never had a soundtrack. This is going to date me, but I remember when my family brought home a copy of Frogger, and when you fired that up, it had the Frogger theme, and we thought that was just amazing. Just the fact that there was music coming out of the Atari, that was just wow. Graphically, the game is also quite impressive, with a really big sprite of Mario and the Goombas, and they all look just like what they're supposed to be. If you compare this to the Mario Bros. Official port, the first game, the one that didn't scroll, it's night and day. This is much better looking. And as you're about to see, the game not only has the overworld levels, but it also has the underground level with appropriate music and hazards, and the same goes for the castle level. So the game really has a lot of the variety that we like in the official Super Mario Bros. And it even has the turtle shells. To an extent, I've actually hit some pretty strange bugs with collisions and turtle shells in this game. And of course, some sacrifices had to be made for the Atari hardware, such as these moving platforms that turn solid when you jump onto them. And there are some other collision glitches too. For example, and finally, what? And then, just my luck, in the middle of my recording, my Atari Heavy 6er started buzzing. That's not the game doing that. The Atari only has 2 channels and both channels of sound are present. That buzzing sound is coming somewhere from the Atari hardware itself. Hopefully it doesn't mean that my Heavy 6er Atari is dying, because that would be really bad. That's a pretty nice piece of hardware and it's not too easy to come by anymore. So anyway, back to the game. This is the boss battle, which is pretty fun because it takes after the Super Mario World battles, and those are a lot more interesting than the Bowser battle in the original Super Mario Bros. So there's really a lot packed in here. You've got the overworld, you've got the underground, you've got the sky levels, you've got the boss battles, you've got the castle, all on an Atari homebrew game. It's really crazy. So even though the game has a share of shortcomings, it's still a really impressive effort, and well worth the few seconds it's going to take to track it down and load it into an emulator or a Harmony flash card if you've got one of those. And that pretty much sums up Princess Rescue. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back next time with a review on real Nintendo hardware for my month of Nintendo reviews. And as always, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.